So in this session at GroupBy, Pinal Dawei is going to talk about 3 common mistakes to kill SQL Server performance. Take it away, Pinal.
All right, so thank you very much. So thank you. I'm so excited when I had to present this one, and one of the demonstration which I was doing today, and while I was doing it, I learned something. So it's 3 common mistakes, and I see this when I say 3 common mistakes. Honestly, I could have called it a 30 common mistakes, or I could have called it 300 common mistake. We all make mistake, right? Mistakes is part of our DNA, I guess. Like, you know. This is what I read on the internet and really like it. You never make the same mistake twice. You always come up with a new one. And that's how I have figured out how to fix things, or matter of the fact, I'm the person who has learned everything by making new mistake every single time. Matter of the fact, I know I'm in middle of the migration project for 2016. I know few mistakes we are going to do, and most important mistakes I think the program owners are doing is not thoroughly testing our scenarios and testing the system. We know those kind of things, but sometimes people are pretty comfortable with that, and they're like, we will fix it when we go. So, well, these 3 common mistakes, why I come up with this 3, because these 3, I've seen it on industry again and again. I go for performance tuning consultation. I give them a list of the things to do, but as soon as we fix these 3 or 4 things, immediately the performance is so good that they say, okay, now we do not have to hire you because you fixed 20% of our performance. That is good enough for a while. We'll engage with you again after 2 months. And suddenly I realize by fixing 2 or 3 important things, their performance is so improved, they do not need me. And I was caught into this dilemma of a consultant. Should I be just doing these 3 things at the end so they get immediate performance boost? But then it's so hard, you know, like, you also want to prove. As a consultant, I like to prove immediately that I am a good guy. And I know how to fix your system too. In this race only, I sometimes lose it. And once you have a SQL Server in a hand, I think our patience takes over. So, and we do what is right. So this is what Pareto told me. And I think I really like what he said. You know, we need to do, the principal says, Pareto saying, 20% of the invested input is responsible for 80% of results obtained. So what I'm going to demonstrate today in 3 mistakes. These are the 3 mistakes which are common mistakes which I see, but they do not apply to the machines which are specific case. So I'm not covering the disclaimer in a scenario. I'm not covering the edge scenario. I'm not covering those special things, and I'm not covering what you know. I'm going to cover what a common person do, what a normal SQL Server system who does not have expert advice has been set up. So those things which we are going to see. So let's start with the very first. I think enough chit chat. We have enough 3 things to show. So first mistake about auto create statistics and auto update statistics. This is one of my most asked question. One of my question which I'm also sometimes get confused with, because amount of the argument I receive from the customer on this setting, and I should not be discriminating to this any particular point of view, but I see if the system is been running for a while, for many years, and if this setting is set to one particular state in the past, it is so difficult to convince customer to change that, because things has changed around us. SQL Server has moved forward, disk has been moved forward, IO has moved forward. Matter of the fact, our phone has a more CPU than some of the system in the past. But we stick to our thought process in the past. We stick to what we have been thinking, and that is what it is. So I am going to show you a demo. Let's not talk on anything beside demo. So here it is. This is SQL Server 2014, but this thing works in a 16 also, in an earlier version, and pretty much all the version of the SQL Server what I'm going to show you next. And here it is. So let us see the very first demonstration. Extremely simple demonstration and very powerful. So what I'm doing is that I'm from the scratch starting right now, and I am going to create two database right now. And this database, I'm not providing any information, anything at all, just gonna to create database like a not so smart person would create. I know there are few people are already buzzing on a Twitter saying, where is the auto growth value? Where is this value? Where is the file name? I know, I agree. I would not do this, but this is how the people do. This is what I see. So I am just trying to mimic the normal person. So I would create this database. Two people already direct message me by the time that this is not your choice. This is not about the bad practices session. That is another one. You don't get confused. Let's continue. Hit execute. It is going to create two of the database without thinking too much. And then I am to make sure these two things I'm doing. One is auto create statistics on one database and auto update statistics on same database. So I made sure it is on, and for second database I'm making sure it is off. Please note this will definitely take the default values for the settings, and I see a question saying, how do you do that in SQL Server Management Studio? Click on a database, right click, and go to the options. Over here there is setting called auto create and auto update. These two settings which we are talking about. Going back to T-SQL, I'm more comfortable there. And now I am going to do something simple. I'm creating a table into one database and create one cluster and non-cluster index. Why? It's not important. It's just random stuff. Like this is what it is, right? We have a table and a cluster index and non-cluster index on it, just simulating the real world scenario. So things are not important, and I am populating it with some random data. Again, data is not important at all. What I'm going to do is this. What I will do is, first of all, I am going to turn on set statistics IO. This is important for us to see. Now the beautiful part comes, where I'm going to compare the execution plan. And before everybody tells me that execution plan is not good way to compare, I know that, so hold on for that particular thought. Yes, so coming to this here, let's see the execution plan, because remember, I am trying to play a guy who has little understanding of SQL Server, and this statement is true at quite an extent for me. I still have a limited understanding, but it's okay. That's what makes me special, because with limited understanding, still I'm presenting here and you are listening me, isn't it? So coming to this one, I'm going to run this query together, and let's assume both the queries are giving us equal performance. If both the query gives us equal performance, then the top query will take 50% and the bottom query will take 50% in our execution plan. But you already know the answer. They are not going to be the same. One query will take more percentage of the query execution cost and one will less. More is bad because any vehicle which takes more amount of the gasoline to go to the same amount of the distance, not good. Vehicle using more gas to give you same mileage is expensive. Same thing applies to the SQL Server query which uses more of those resources, not good. So let me go to execution plan and see over here. Here it is. Execution plan says 37% where statistics is on and 63% where statistics is off. Well, that means my query where I have left the statistics on is good. But there is a small triangle on my second query. So let me go and check that triangle which is on the operator and see what that triangle says. So I would move my mouse over here, and if you are watching this on your screen, go all the way down on a warning. I cannot zoom it because there is limitations, but just go and check the warning. It says column with no statistics. So SQL Server is telling there is no column there is no statistics on one particular column. Okay, so seems like a natural reaction of a human would be I should be creating the statistics, and that is like very similar scenario of the top query. They are both independent database query, and I can clearly see the top query is performing better. But as I said, execution plan can be deceiving. They may not be right, but I can clearly see over here there is an index seek is happening and there is index scan is happening. And our general understanding says seek is better, scan is bad, but there is a special cases when there is a smaller table, then scan is okay, and there are certain cases where the scan is okay. But 80% of the time where I go and see seek looks, when I see seek, I'm happy. When I see scan, I initially think that there can be something improved unless proven wrong. So now coming back over here, I will click on messages. Messages is very, very interesting. So let me click on message, and I see over here the difference in the logical read. I can clearly see the logical read in the top query is much lower than the logical read in the bottom query. Now you can see here it says 425 and 533. So what is this number? Anybody would like to tell me? The number is simple. Number is number of the page which SQL Server has to read to get us this much data. In a top query, it is 425. In a bottom query, it's a 533. Well, that's the answer. That means the bottom query is expensive. Looks like statistics is what you need if you want to improve the performance. But this is where the demonstration over and the discussion and argument and disagreement between you and me starts. So let's start with this one. First one, well, if this is so good, why SQL Server does not keep that as a default? They do keep it as a default value. So that's what they are, one way or other way they are thinking. Most of the system, it would be needed. That's why they are keeping it on. Now, second argument, which will be, well, if it is so good, then why it is allowed to turn it off? Well, there are special cases. Remember the 20% cases which we don't want to talk today? Like data warehousing scenarios, maybe it's not relevant. Or maybe there are special case that when your table is updated, your IO is so poor or poorly configured, either of them, it would give you so bad performance that you may want to keep it off and run it in a nightly. But the only arguments which is here to keep it off is that during the normal work hours, by any chance, you are updating a lot of data in your table, then it will fire auto update of statistics, slowing down your entire IO and really harming your very important, critical, crucial queries. Well, if that is the case, leave it off, buddies. Don't bother me for that. But how many times that happens, man? Just put a taste on it. It's quite possible with all the advancements, all the RAIDs, all the SANs, all the SSDs, everything jumping around nowadays. I mean, I keep a list of what kind of disk nowadays is available, what kind of things you can do, caching level here, caching level there, and there under caching. And I just lost track of the things people do, network compression and things. So looking at all this, honestly, I just think leave it on, because that would not hurt immediately. But if it is those 1% case, turn it off. But do not just blindly turn it off because you inherited the database and where it was off. So that is what the learning which we have. So any argument, yes, I'm ready to listen, but I would suggest do the correction now. And how about we argue on my email address, which I will share at the end. And you know what I'm going to write to you in email address? I'll tell you now before you send it. Yes, you are probably right. You have seen this. I apologize for incorrect information. I know this thing because I know there will be 2 or 4 emails I'm going to lend it saying, I think in my case, I need to leave it off. If you can justify it, I'm happy for you. Okay, let's go to the next one. But I'm just talking about what I see in my consulting places. Mistake number 2, file auto growth. Matter of the fact, this is also another killer configuration. I see a lot of people making a lot of mistakes. What is the right value for this? And matter of the fact, when I went to Brent's precon, amazing precon, I loved it. Thank you, Brent, for having me there. In that, I even asked to the Brent, like, what should I do? And he gave me one interesting answer. So I would try to repeat that answer, but I will also add, the way I will save it, that all of you will think it is my answer. So wait for the demonstration for that. So I have this old one. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people say, hey, you have a unique ability. And I said, yeah, I have a unique ability to take somebody's answer and make it mine. No problem. You know, as long as I'm giving credit, isn't that a good thing to do? Yeah.
And bringing your voice to it. You know, you bring your voice and your personality to it. It makes it totally different.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a skill, right? It's like a feature, not a bug. And the most important
Yes.
thing, I never forget to give a credit. So here is the demonstration where I am now a little bit more smarter and I'm creating my database with a file name. Still, I should have more things. And those three people who write to me on a Twitter, I see on my second screen over here. If you do not know, I keep on saying, said I did not talk about file auto growth. This is a lesson for you. I knew I knew I'm going to talk about it now. So now take back your words, take back your tweet, delete it, anything. Coming to this one, now I am creating a regular database. And I created a regular database. I call it default DB. Why? Because I can name it. You know, demo, you can name it. Now, I will just create a table in this one, and I'm populating 1 million records with one additional zero. So yes, now it's 1 million. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to populate a 1 million record into my table. Now you will tell me, why I'm doing this thing? There is no context, there is no story. But you know what? If you are ever going to complain about this demonstration is not leading you anywhere, you should have never watched the movie Sixth Sense, because you sit through this movie for 2 hours without asking this question to the director. So very similar to that, we are done with the 15-second of the experiment. So this table where I inserted the data, 1 million data, it took 15 seconds of the time. That is good. So, well, what can I say? It's bad, good. I have nothing to compare, nothing to relative. But yes, it took 15 seconds of the time. So fine, that's one thing. Now I want to show you another thing, and I'm going to run this demo first and explain you what is difference. But I will give you a quick hint. There is one word here called file growth. There is another word called file growth, and that is the only change. And I'm going to run that right now for a second. And once the query is over, I'm going to do the same experiment one more time. And let us see where we can go and do it. So here I am creating the same table, default table, and I will insert 1 million record. And as we know, it took last time 15 seconds of the time. So we have 15 seconds. So anybody want to grab a popcorn can go grab a popcorn. But there is a problem here. I made a mistake. I had a 1 0 less. So it's okay. I'm going to reinsert it with one more 0. And let us see how long it takes. Well, there is already some data into the table, which we already know, and it is done. 6 seconds. So think about this way. Why it took 6 seconds and earlier it took 15 seconds? I mean, it's like putting a movie on fast forward and seeing the end of the movie first and then coming back to this one. So that is what we are going to do, just like Sixth Sense. So here it is. There is a only two identical scenario. Now let us slow down. In identical scenario number 1, we have a table, created database, inserted a 1 million record, took 15 seconds. Second time, I created database, only change here is file growth and initial size of the file. By changing these two settings, I've improved a lot of performance of my insert. Matter of the fact, 6 seconds to 15 seconds. It's almost a lot of improvement. It's so hard to do maths, right? Yeah, it's a 200% improvement. So a lot of improvement, right? It's just 15 to 6. Yeah, so good thing. Now my question is that if this is such a good, what did I change? How did I change? So I will go over here and click. This is one thing sometime. Yeah, I wish the SQL Server team gives us the fresh part. Someday they will fix it. I'm so confident. Coming to this one, I should have clicked on File. Look at here. The auto growth is 1 and initial size is 1. And that's how we are running. And you can see my log file went a little bit higher because I inserted certain data. Initially, it was not like that. And so, yeah, auto growth is set up on this database, which is called Optimized DB. But when I go to my default database, click on right click and see files here, it is very little, 1 MB, very, very little, and my log file is growing to 345 and it is 41. So this is the auto growth value. It's such a good thing. But in our demonstration, Initial size also equally played a role because the data was only 41 MB. It had never reached to the auto growth also. But if I add one more zero to here, and if you guys have a patience to let this query run for around 50 seconds, we can do the example. But I know you guys don't. But now what I will do is that this query is available. It's easily available. Way earlier I had posted on a blog. Nobody reads from the blog sometimes. They just read one or two lines. A summary or things, and they make statements, so I'm okay with it. So yeah, so this is a big thing you need to keep remember. But I want to give you a real example. What actually happened and how did this one MB got set up? I just created default. So this is one of the question I received yesterday. No matter what I do, when I create new database, auto growth is always set to 1 MB. Where it is coming from? Answer is it is coming from none other than your dear model database. And those people who ever try to drop this database, well, I feel bad for you guys, but here it is. This is the database where it is set it to 1 MB and it is directly taken from that. So any new database which is created, if you do not specify any value, that are taken from the model database. So people say charity begins from the home. Same way, the cleaning of your data, right configuration, and all these things begin from the model database. So if you, there are two things you need to do when you look at any of the system. I find it very funny because database is the boring. Actually, it's a so boring subject, right? When you go to performance tuning, look at everybody's face, they are already sad because of database problem. So there are two jokes I do every single time and people like it. First, I talk about this model database and how this model database help them out. An incorrect setting here can create a lot of issues for them. They love this one. Most of the people do not know. And second thing is that I always open their master database and I will show them who created this table, why you created it. A lot of people just forget about changing database context, create hundreds of the object in a master database. Matter of the fact, this is what I learned, that one of the email which I received where it says, well, our master database is every day growing by 1, and we figured it out. They were using the master database for staging and things like, because it's a master, right? It can do everything. So yeah, names are confusing, and yeah, I have a problem with the SQL Server naming thing, but you know what, I will not talk openly, because sometimes when we say something openly, you can get in a problem. Example is max degree of parallelism. Like, it took me 1 year to understand what is max degree of parallelism. Right now, a lot of you know, it is just maximum CPU available for a single query or operator. Why cannot they write that here? Well, I'm sure this thing we will eventually cut it down in our recording, which we are going to post, so I'm safe right now. But yeah, I have my problems with the naming things, how people name it, like boost SQL Server priority. You click it and you will never get performance. Like, why? Why did you name it boost SQL Server priority? If you click it and it's not going to boost my SQL Server priority. It does boost SQL Server priority by doing something. There is a big blog post. Again, internals, I hardly understand, but there is a fantastic blog post of Arvind, my friend. I would eventually send that link to also posted where it says, boosting SQL Server priority does not do it. It's not recommended. Matter of the fact, if you go to the latest documentation, it says this is something going to go away in the future. I think it's there for a while. I think in a SQL Server MSD and help, it says this feature is going to go away. I wish they just take it away, because a lot of people think it's a turbo button. Click on it and we'll wait that when SQL Server will perform, and it immediately there is no change. They forget. After a while they come back and restarted something here and there. They do things and suddenly SQL Server is not working, and they're like, yeah, did we? And one of the live consulting project I see, the CEO asking to the developer, hey, did you turn that boost SQL Server priority on or not? Turn it on, and then I think our performance problem will go away. And that guy said, it's already set on. And I was like, yeah, show me the dollar bill. I think this is where you need me most. I mean, I can just turn off this one setting and immediately get improved performance. Ooh, we got off track on a lot of things. We didn't even finish what we were talking about. I'm not going to apologize about it, because this is my time.
That's right. It's your show.
Yes, it's your show. We are just character artists here and there. We will get old, but it's so much fun to be invited. It's a big honor to be with you in here, presenting in front of you. This is my best thing. So I mean, I'm going to write in a resume tomorrow morning in LinkedIn. I will. I'll say presented in a group by, and it's a LinkedIn thing, and that's so good. I'm happy. So thank you. Coming to
Oh,
this
thank
one, this is the,
you.
yeah.
You are
So
awesome. You are just awesome.
So this is what Brent told me. Remember, I told you guys that this is what I'm going to make this thing in my own word. The fix, what is the right fixed auto growth value? I should have it. So this is what I learned from him. He said you should have it. What measure your weekly file growth and put it there. If you want to be just normal, but if you just want to be a little bit aggressive, and if you have no issue with the space, you can make it a 15 days file growth or 1 month even. Or then somebody says, but I do not know what is my weekly file growth, and I think my answer is that you will know next Sunday. Wait for next Sunday. I mean, why are you rushing? You waited for 2 years with a bad performance. You waited 16 years of the poor application performance. Now you can't wait for a week to figure it out. This one, such an impatient boy you have. You are the one who invented this social media with the small text and things where the attention span of our is so less. Yeah. So recently I got a tweet, and I think it was very, very funny. Somebody said, please write to me everything you know in a Twitter reply. I was like, yeah, I wrote to him everything. What else I'm going to write? Everything, everything. He asked, I gave you. And he said, you are rude. I said, I am not rude. I see what you are saying, but look at your question. It says, tell me everything you know about SQL Server. Okay, everything. Here you go. Coming back to this one. So weekly file growth. And if you do not know what is weekly file growth, and you have set to some very, 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 very small number like 10 MB or 1 MB, you know what? This is what I will tell. Set it to 200 MB or set it to 250 MB. Why? Well, it's better than 2 MB. So that's why you set it up. Ideal answer is there on your screen. Put it weekly file growth. So great. Now we have third and final thing. These are the two things. Trust me, once I do these two things, quite a lot of time people has not called me back for performance tuning, and I keep on wondering, did I do something wrong? Did I mess it up? Answer is no. Actually, these two things make them so happy that suddenly they started to value that little money which they give me. So they are okay to buy this SQL Server very, very expensive. But when I ask this little money, they were saying, no, that's not what we're going to give, and they're happy with two things. So finally I come up with a third one. This is my business secret I'm sharing with all of you guys. These two settings were so good that they stopped hiring me again and again. So I thought about it. I need to do something. See, I don't want to be mean person where I don't tell them everything I know. That's the entire purpose of creating blog, was to give back. Now that goes against me, but if you do not get money at your home, and your 7 years daughter and your wife look at you and said, when are you going to get money so we can go out and have one decent meal, you start thinking about little bit being mean, isn't it? So this is where I invented the third mistake, which I show it to every customer. And I think since I started to show this, 50% of them started to call me back, because this third one is very, very interesting, but it's only half. And I think it's, oh wow, there are so many attendees there. I think I just blew it up about by telling everything I know. So I don't know any of those will ever call me. So, and if this video will be posted, I know next day, and so many people will watch it, I don't know what will happen now. So if something goes wrong, I am coming to your home, Brent, for a loan. And
we'll both be broke. We'll both be broke. But you're right. No, it's these same kind of mistakes over and over again,
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's the same and same, and you fix the same thing. So I think it's fun. But now let's look at implicit conversion. This demo is fun. This was I had a lot of time building this demo this morning. Though I had this demo earlierly built, but it's always fun to revise the code and do it. So here it is. I am just creating a table and inserting some data. I think you guys already know that I'm a lazy guy who do not explain a lot of things, but you don't need to know why I created a table, what is in it, and things. Those are the things, right? I mean, anyway, if I'm going to say things, you are not going to pay attention. Half of you has already minimized the screen. All right, I see a lot of people now waking up. Okay, good. So thank you, paying attention. It's so common, right? A lot of people are just watching the screen. I mean, how do you learn anything for watching screen and not hearing? Some of you are just hearing the screen and not watching the screen. And some of you are doing both of them. Thank you. Coming to the point here, this table has some data in it, which is random data, and I'm just creating index on it. Why? It's just, okay, It's just like normal people do. They don't think too much. They just keep on working on it. When they face a problem, they will like, why the problem come? And now my question to all of you is that which of this query will be optimal, query number 1 or query number 2? And you cannot ask me back any question, so I will not let you back ask me any question. I know Brent can ask me, but I'm just saying, rest of you people, now choose 1 or 2. And you cannot ask me anything back, like go up and show me this, go up the data type, reference number, go up. I cannot. What were you doing? See, I told you, I called you out. The guy who does not know what was that thing happened or what you want to see, I called you out that you are not watching the screen. What were you doing? Even though I called you out, you still didn't watch it. So you do not know the answer. Rest of the people, now answer me. What is the answer? Which query will be faster, query 1 or query 2? Write it down on a piece of the note pair, because it's very no, not
I do
you.
have one question. No, but James asks, how much coffee did you drink before this started? They're all jealous of your energy.
Oh, the coffee part. Actually, thank you. I will pass it to my wife. She doesn't know how to make a good coffee. Yesterday, she made a coffee in the evening because I told her, this is a true story. So yesterday evening, this has happened. I told her that I have to work for my customer in a night and please make me a coffee. She will make me a coffee, and after that I feel amazing energy. I was almost dancing here and there, and I asked her, I said, this is good coffee. Show me the coffee. And she brought me back this Seattle's best decaf coffee, which I bought from SQL Pass. And I was like, oh, and suddenly I felt very lousy. It was decaf. There was no coffee in it, but it looked like a coffee, so I get a lot of energy. Really? So, James, I do not have an answer for you. Today, I did not even drink coffee because yesterday I got cheated by her on a coffee. Looking at this. Yeah, so good one. Looking at this. Oh, yeah, which query will be better? Did you write it down, you guys? Did you write query 1 or query 2? Please write it down. Because if you do not write it down, when I show you answer, you will say, I was about to say that. I know that you will do that. So please write it down and be wrong. Wrong is good thing. Right is even better thing. So let's run this query now with execution plan enable, which I did. Run it and see the answer. Look at that. Top query is 99% and the bottom query is only 1%. And matter of the fact, if you are going to say this deceive you, then let statistics IO on. I would just do that and we'll show you the page read as well. And we'll prove that query execution plan is almost reflecting what we are seeing here. Look at 390 logical read and 3 logical read. So those people who are not able to see now, you should be able to see. Look at the percentages. These are directly reflected over here as well. 99 and 1. So this time execution plan did a right job drawing the picture from what is happening under the hood. So good one. +1 for SQL Server, -1 for everybody who think execution plan is always wrong. So coming to this one over here, I mouse over and says warning. And warning says type conversion implicit. You know what? Why I said this is where I get money? This is where I get money because I show this kind of behavior into that SQL Server. And I say, look, you have an implicit conversion happening. What you need to do is that you need to change few things and make your data type same on both the side. Otherwise, you will get such a bad performance. And they're like, yeah. See, other two were settings. They can just do the knob here and they think done. But now they did this when I demonstrated a couple of queries like this and say, this is what is happening in your system. Implicit conversion. You need to go back and fix it. And their first question to me is, all right, yeah, we want to fix all the queries where there is implicit conversion is happening. If this is what is happening in our system, please help me. This is where they call me back, okay? So then what do I do? There are a couple of things. The smart people here will tell that if reference number, I want to see the data type of it, right? So reference number is varchar. So that is why it is giving us data type mismatch. And what is happening here is reference number is varchar and this is integer. So SQL Server internally converted this reference number to varchar. So it matter of the fact did index scan. It went to every single row in this table, converted from varchar to integer and did one comparison, said, yes, boss, here's your answer. In this case, it was pretty straightforward. Varchar here, varchar there, both the varchar quack together. Okay, so here there is a problem. Reference number and varchar integer implicit conversion. So a smart person will tell me two things. First, how do I fix it? And second, how do I identify all the queries in my system which are doing this? Two things, right? You want to know both the things, and I will help you with both of them. Let's see one more time this answer over here. Good job. Now I will show you another query which I run it. There is a query has a limitations. This is the query which I don't give it to any of my user. I would definitely share on a GroupBy page so you can take it, but I will never share to any of my customer or any of you. Just so you know, because this is where I make my consulting money. So when I run this particular query, and I run on database SQL Authority, and previously my database was SQL Authority, and you can see here various things coming from my cache. Warning for the people who are very, very smart: if something happens, your cache is cleaned out, you will not see records here. So it is only for a brief moment till your cache is there. It's quite possible brief moment is hours too. So I do not know. And now we have to go over here and try to look and find our queries from our system, but that's a very, I'm lazy guy, so I'm going to do this. This query does implicit conversion, right? I'm going to run it 100 times. I'm going to disable the execution plan, and then I think this query will come automatically on a top for us. Again, this is only in a demonstration you do, okay? Don't do on a production unless you want to find a new job. That's okay, great idea too. That's how I always find a new job. 4 jobs, 4 times. I had to leave it before they asked me to leave. So look at this one. This is the query which we have run a few seconds ago, right? Reference number 555. This query came on the top of it. It has a total worker time, average worker time, max worker time. These are the all generic queries you can find everywhere. This was the creation time. It ran 103 times. Who ran that? That is not our problem right now, but I can open the execution plan over here. It brings up same execution plan, tells me what are the things mismatch, and you can take this mismatch and ask them to fix it. There are multiple ways to fix it, but this is first I solve one problem. How do you find those queries? As long as they are in your execution plan, you find it. Now the second part of this one, our earlier query, and we have some time left for today, so I'm going to show you how you can fix it. So let us say, okay, stay with me. We are totally not done, because now I'm going to ask you a question which most probably you will get it wrong. When you get it wrong, thank me, thank GroupBy, and thank Brent that we were here to explain you this, right? So what I'm going to do, let's assume that reference number is now always going to store integer. A not so smart developer made this as a varchar. So let's go and change this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drop existing index, then change that particular column reference number to integer. Good job. It's going to take some while. Done. I'll recreate that index. Now all the smarty guys out there, okay, I want you to do this. Tell me which query will work faster, except Brent, everybody's allowed to answer, and you guys can't speak anyway. So yeah, which query will be fast query? Which query will be fast? Tell me now. You have 1 second to write down your number on a notepad, write it down, and be wrong right after that. I am telling you, if you write it down, you are gonna to erase it and correct it after that. So tell me now, reference number is an integer, reference number is an integer, reference number integer here, and it's a comparison of varchar. So there is conversion gonna to happen in a second query. Which query will be perfect? Which query will give you right answer? The hint is already on a screen, I'm hiding it. Yes. Now coming to this one. Look at this. So all of you thought I was not guiding you. Hint was there on a screen till this moment. I never trick anybody. I don't have a counter running there where I make a note how many people I fooled today. Actually, because it's big overflew. So look at this one. Please tell me which query will do best. Oh, Twitter is full of people telling me wrong answer. Thank you guys. Look at this execution plan. I forgot to enable. Click over here. Click here. Wait. Execution plan. And yes, you can see very clearly that top query is now doing much better and bottom query is doing very bad. Not really. Both the queries are giving you correct answer. Why are you nodding your head? Both of them are same 50%. Okay, what happened? You will tell me. This is what is interesting. You thought this cannot change. You cannot have thought, you were thinking like, okay, so 99.1%. Now the 99.1% is going to flip. Okay, that was a wrong answer. It is 50-50. What happened? So there is a one more thing to learn over here, which is called data type precedence. I am including the link, but Microsoft has a lot of different data types, and every data type has a some rule. I can open the web page, even matter of the fact, SQL Server, now when I click, it opens inside it here. It's interesting. But anyway, I'm not going to open the page because there is so much information available out. I'll tell you this. I don't want to confuse you. So simple as possible word. If there are multiple data types are there, Microsoft came up with a rule about which data type will convert to which other data type. That's how it works. So over here, if you have integer compared to varchar, varchar is always going to be converted to integer. That rule only true for integer and varchar. Okay, varchar will be always converted to integer. I always remember this. Then now think about this. Previously, this was varchar. Okay, I will move up. Even though it's the same query, a lot of people when I move up can relate. So when this was varchar and you are comparing to integer, this entire column of 100,000 record was being converted to from varchar to integer, and after the conversion is over, the match was happening. But in a second case, this was already integer, so there was no problem here. But here, this was integer and this was varchar, so only one conversion happened. Look at my finger, one. And because of one was not expensive, this went very fast. So my point and answer to you is this. SQL Server has data type precedence. You can use this to understand how the implicit conversion happens, how you can avoid it, you can learn more about it. This is a couple of warning signs which I tell to my customer, and that's why they hire me back saying, hey, this is happening in your system, in your where clauses many times. Look at, I ran this query, there are 45 times it's happening. And also this can happen in your joins also. What I mean by table 1 orders and table 2 order details. If you are comparing two of the column with different data type, this particular thing happens, which is called implicit conversion. And what is the negative part of implicit conversion? Yes, one thing, bigger the table you have, slower your query gets. Write it down on somewhere. Every single time you make one common mistake, this thing comes into the action. Bigger the table you have, slower the performance you get by one mistake like this. Now SQL Server will not use, no matter what kind of good index you created here, it will make sure not to use that index because conversion has happened. What it will do, it will use the index, which is a cluster index probably. This is the table itself with the entire thing, and it will be scanned there. So yeah, index will use, but that's the entire story. But in short, the performance you are expecting from the query because of the index will not be there. So that's what it is. That's a mistake. So you need to learn about it. You need to make sure the simple one-line answer, identify all those implicit conversion from query like this, and then after fix it one at a time by making sure both the side, the data type is same. So that's the mistake and that's the correction. I would share this particular PPT with Brent and we will have it on a GroupBy by tomorrow. So don't worry about it. So with this, I reached to my end of the demonstration. We talked about learning about 3 things, but you know what? We're lazy people. We always talk too much. Not only 3 things, we talk about a couple of my customer. I hope they are not listening. We also talked about boost SQL Server priority. We also talked about naming convention, how good we do sometime. And sometimes it's a me, right? See, I come from the place where English is not, I only talk English right now because of you guys. Like 5 minutes before, Amno was not talking English. 5 minutes after of this call, I will not talk English. So people who don't talk sometime has a language challenge. And when we use the difficult word, we don't get it. And then we just like whatever. So when I come across any difficult English word in my performance tuning consultancy, my answer is this. Not knowing the meaning of that does not affect the performance of SQL Server. And it always works. Everybody laughs and we all forget what was the real issue. So this is where, if you want to sign up to my newsletter where I do random stuff, what you just heard, I write all this thing, okay? It's not so funny, but you have to hear this in my own accent, right? Then you may find it funny. Like sometime, last time I got this one, that I sound like Big Bang Theory's, the lead actor, the Raj Kuthapalli, and said, are you related? I said, no, we have like 1 billion people. Are you going to call us all of us relative? No, that's not how it works. So many people here. Yeah, I can show you out of this window. You will see 20 people, even though it's 1 a.m. Okay, so yeah, with this, I think we are done with our presentation. We talked a lot. Thank you. Ever call us, read us, hear us, sign up to this newsletter. You can go to go.sqlauthority.com. You can drop the email address. But meanwhile, the thing which I showed you, the particularly one script I'll share on a GroupBy with the PPT. And thank you. So over to the questions if I know the answers.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pinal. Yes. God, it's the first time I've ever seen you on webcam or anything like that, and you're fantastic. It's so much fun. We had so many mentions in Slack and in Twitter saying you're just fantastic to watch there.
Thank you. I see whom I'm inspired from. You know, that guy is sitting left in front of me. So thank you. I'm so motivated. Brent, I'll tell you, be very, very honest. I like to, one thing I appreciate you because you are like yourself. You express yourself, and I learn about this thing early career. I have to be me if I want to be me. So thank you.
Oh, and it just comes through when you get excited about something and you love it, and the audience gets excited too. You know, it just totally translates into that.
Thank you.
Let's see here. We had lots of people said, "Oh, I was wrong when I put in the wrong answer." You know, why was one query faster than the other? LC Gully says, "Thanks for bringing Pinal to this event. The interview question section of his website helped me to get a great job a few years back. So thanks, Pinal."
Thank you. Thank you. That just makes my day or midnight right now. You guys know anything which you read, and I can tell you, Brent, and every single blogger can relate when you read any of the stuff which we write, even though you say thank you, or if you just wish just sitting, staying at home, just wish one good thing for us. I think it's just, I think the positive energy reaches to us. So thank you. I can't express that. Yes.
Because you write it and you hope it helps people, you know, but you just never know until you actually hear back from them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you.
Let's see here. Next up, James says, "Oh, should we turn auto update stats asynchronously on or off?"
I would leave this one on you because you know what? I am still not sure about the answer of it. I think you can leave it on and off, but I personally has not seen much of the immediate impact of it, so I can create a demo of it. So I do not like to say anything if I cannot generate a demonstration for this, and I tried over 3 days to build an repeatable, predictable demo by changing this setting on and off, and I could not figure it out how I can convince you. So I'm sure the setting works, but I don't know how do I prove it to you. So if I cannot prove it to you, how do I explain to you? So I will leave it Brent to answer that one.
I feel a lot the same as you do there. I see some people who turn it on by default and they've seen a difference. The idea being when you trip that 20% stats threshold and it starts to do an update of statistics, the query that tripped the update stats threshold is supposed to stop until the update stats finishes and then runs. So if you do it asynchronously, it's supposed to run immediately with the bad stats or old stats while stats populate in the background. I've never hit a situation where that took me across the finish line, where the customer said, "Oh, now everything's great."
Exactly.
Yeah. They have other problems that's a bigger issue, so I don't care whether people turn it on or off. I've never seen it hurt anything. I've just never seen it take you across the finish line.
I'm so glad your answer is very near to me. Otherwise, I thought I'm making a note here also. I'm writing down how many things I just learned being in a presentation. Even though I am presenting, that shows that how much I have to learn. When I'm presenting, I'm making note of it and said, I learned this. Anyway, thank you.
That's the best way. I tell people to learn something is to have to teach it, because you nailed it when you say you have to build a demo. I learn more when I build demos because wait, that didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to take. You know, I need to change this. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's really challenging when it happens live. When you wrote the demo and it doesn't work the way you thought it did live, that's when you really learn.
Exactly. I want all my demonstration to repeat it. They should behave normally. That is the reason, like one of the question I received in an email said, why are you going to do a demonstration for Boost SQL Server Priority? Oh, no, if I turn it on, my entire OS will struggle and I can't do the webcast, so I should build a VM for it and turn it on. But again, if I turn it on, there is no guarantee that right now, at this point of time, in front of you, it will behave bad. It may be just one of those, it will be like our own kid. Like when we say, oh, they will not eat this food, and they will immediately look at us and say, Dad, I want to eat ice cream. I eat ice cream all the time. And like, why do you have to accept that in front of everybody when I say no?
Uh, Kelly says, I'm sorry I had to walk away from this captivating session, but at least I'll be smiling in my next meeting. Good job. That's excellent feedback.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you very
Pinal,
much.
I will let you go ahead and go back to your client then. Thank you so much for taking time out of your workday to do this. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I know people really loved it and appreciated it. So thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much. And I would just say one last thing. You know
Sure.
what? I'm so honored to be here. You just don't know, like dreams like this, that I get opportunity to present in front of everybody. When I say everybody, there is one guy, Brent Ozar, also there. It made my day. So far, I was always saying, I am so proud that I present in front of everybody minus Brent. Now I can use the word everybody. Now I can use word everybody. So I'm happy. It took me 10 years to reach where I have honor to present in front of you. So thank you.
That is so funny. Well, and I only got the honor to present in front of you, what, in November, October, November. I got to present in front of you for the first time. So that was really funny. It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You're very kind. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening me all the way from India.